back to Create Space, a podcast that finds joy in the art of storytelling. One of the biggest privileges of hosting this podcast for me is getting to interview current and former students of the Elliott School of Communication. Now, you all know that this is a place that changed me for the better and grew me into the person that I am today, and continues to do so every single day that I get to be there. And so to get to honor that same experience in others is something that I will just be eternally grateful for. And that word, grateful, is a word that you're going to hear mentioned a lot in today's episode. I sat down with local videographer and content creator Chase Dempsey, and let me tell you, this is a man who truly lives every single one of his days to the fullest and is so grateful for everything that he's earned. Now, I met Chase several years ago as he was completing his undergraduate degree through the Elliott School, and he went on to also complete his master's in communication with us as well. So now he has 2 diplomas, and he's worked as a content creator for Bethel College, and he also runs his own videography company, Chase Me If You Can Productions. Now, Chase is someone that when you meet him, he changes you. He shifts the energy in the room. There's just this light that radiates from him, and it makes you want to smile. I'm not kidding you. I'm not, speaking with hyperbole right now. And you can really tell from his portfolio just how impactful his work truly is. As an example of this, I posted a picture on my Instagram account the day that I had recorded this interview with Chase. So it was a selfie, I think, of Chase and I in the studio. And a current student of mine texted me when he saw it, and he said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for the episode with Chase to come out. In my opinion, he's one of the best creators in Wichita right now." And it was a really cool moment to see a current student looking up to and being inspired by one of our alums. So anyways, I can't wait for you to meet Chase today and really just get to experience his magic for yourself. All right, welcome to the show, Chase. We are so excited to have you. I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much. I am excited to be here, and I've heard so much about Create Space, so let's see what we've got.
And so for those of you that don't know, Chase has kind of made an appearance sort of on Create Space because he was actually the videographer when we had Kyle Ellison on a month or so ago. And so while you did not hear his voice yet, he was in the room. He was recording, made a really cool video recap of it that you can see both on my Instagram and also on Kyle's Facebook and Instagram as well. So he's been around, and I've known Chase for several years now. I'm trying to think when you were in undergrad. Like, remind me of the years. So you did your undergrad and then grad. What were the time frames
undergrad there? Ended, it was 2015 to 18.
Okay.
And then the graduate program was 2019 to 2021.
Gotcha. That's right. Okay. Mm-hmm. All of that kind of runs together for me, I find. And of course, because you ended right in the middle of COVID, and everything before COVID feels like a whole other world to me.
Oh, my.
So it's hard to go back.
Yeah.
Okay. So the reason I wanted to bring you on, Chase, is because you are a videographer by trade in a couple of different ways, and we'll get into all the different ways that you do videography in the area. But I've known you since undergrad, and I think what's been interesting to me in watching your journey is if I could pick out 2 things to me that stand out about you, it is, one, that you are like one of the probably most kind, positive, just compassionate people that I've ever met. And then 2, persistent and resilient and consistent. I didn't mean for all of those to have the ENT. Like, I really did not plan that. But especially, so I noticed it when you were a student. You were just a good student. You always got stuff done. You always pushed yourself, et cetera, et cetera. But I think I've noticed it maybe even more since you graduated, that I follow you on social media, and I follow your personal accounts, but then also your professional account. And what I notice is the just consistency. You're always marketing yourself. You're always telling people what you're up to. You're always taking on new projects. And there's just a lot of grit to you, a lot of determination. And I find that really, really inspiring. So those are kind of the reasons that I have just been perpetually drawn to you over the years and that I've loved following your career. So could you start by maybe just telling us who you are as a videographer, how you got started, and sort of what you're doing in the industry now?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that intro. That was great.
Of
I
course.
love that. Yes. And Jessica was my teacher. So I actually learned a lot from her classes.
Thank you.
I actually came to WSU wanting to do sports management. That was how my whole journey started. Yes.
I don't know that I knew that.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to be on a sports team. I'm going to do something with them. It could be professional, semi-pro. It doesn't matter. But I decided, this is just a little too much for me. It's not down my alley. I need to find something that I can create. And, be yourself, open your mind. So I come to the Elliott School. Here we are. And I find video. So I'm like, hey, what is this videography? What does it entail? I love movies. I love creating shorts. I love just getting behind the camera, creating that shot or creating that video. And that's really what got me in here. Taking these classes, learning each year, getting new equipment, learning different aspects, not just the video side, audio, photography. And good thing that I learned, one thing I learned from your class was actually being in a room, setting up an actual interview. What it took to do that, and you're just thinking, okay, it only takes these short amount of steps. No, you have to take really long steps. You have to take your time, and you have to make sure things are working. So it takes a team. It also takes a little bit of knowledge about what the subject is. But you learn that with anything. So with podcasting, or, you get better with each episode. You get better just doing things. But this really helped me decide what I wanted to do. The Elliott School pushed me from what my creativity was to something I could see myself in years to come. And also continue my career in video or whatever else that brings. But really, it's just who I am. I love anime. I love, I'm a nerd about all type of things, video games. But I think all of it really relates back to video. And I'm like, what if I want to create that someday? Well, I have the resources now and the knowledge, so.
And you're doing it.
And I'm doing it, and why not?
Yeah.
That's right.
So you said you started out being interested in sport management. Did you actually pursue that as a degree path for a time and then switch majors?
That's right.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And I never knock people for coming to college and trying their first major,
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't always work out, and that's okay. So I had to figure it out, and I said, I don't want to continue doing this, be miserable. So I decided, let's go to something in the same field but different. And I found this, and it has been my baby ever since.
I'm glad you said that, because I think there is sometimes a stigma against, you have to know when you're 18, when you come in, you have to stick with it. And really, I would much rather a student switch out, even if they've been in a program for a few years. If they don't like it, switch out, as opposed to invest all that time and money and finish in something you don't like. And we see that a lot, for whatever reason. We see that a lot with communication, that many of our students, myself included, fall into communication after trying something else.
Yes.
I switched majors 2 times and I switched schools 1 time. So it took a while to get here. And then what I tend to hear, and what I heard from you and what I said myself, and I've heard from many other students, is once you get here, you feel home. Right? Things fit right. And for everyone, that might not be the Elliott School, but I think for everyone, there is a place that feels like home. And I don't think you should stop until you find it. Imagine if you'd said, no, I said sport management, this is what I'm supposed to do. I committed to this, right? Because we're taught, don't quit, don't whatever. I would guess you wouldn't be as happy now. I could be wrong. You know?
That sounds right, because, you get into a situation and automatically, it takes some time, but you're like, okay, I'm not happy. So it's like you said, you want to come somewhere that's home. And when you think of home, you think of a loving environment, somewhere you can learn, make mistakes.
Yes.
And then continue to learn from those mistakes.
100%. And I'm also glad you said the mistakes, because that's another part of it, right?
Oh,
Failure is part of growth. It's a hugely important part of growth.
It sure is.
So that brings me to my next kind of point. Is I said you were a videographer, which is true, and I would say that seems to be your kind of bread and butter. But you have ventured out into a lot of other areas, things that I know I didn't teach you. So you've obviously kept growing and learning as you've gone on. So tell me about that process. How did you add in things like photography and drone work and all of those other things? Why did you? How did you, and how's it been going?
Yes. So it all starts with, okay, I'm a videographer. So if someone's asking me or someone wants something done, never say no. Because, and you have to be careful though, but never say no, but also learn about what else comes with your job or whatever it is you're doing. So videography, someone could ask you to do photography, and you may be new to the aspects or everything with it, but mostly you have the equipment you need. You just need to find that direction.
Right.
And continue to grow on that. So people would ask me for things. I would go and learn how to do those things and then apply it when I was ready. So that way, if someone came to me, and you never know, you might get your biggest opportunity not just in your videography or photography. Someone might want you to live stream for them, and that could be your bread and butter. So it doesn't just don't box yourself in. As I like to say, be international with yourself. Like spread out your talents. Don't stop. Keep learning, and having good mentors and having people behind you really help you do that, because it doesn't just make you. It makes you stand out.
Yeah.
Let's say, and gives you confidence, and it gives you that ability that, you know what, I can conquer this, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, venturing out and doing this, and recently I've done headshots. I've never really, photography, I don't really do photography, but I've learned so much that now I feel comfortable enough that I can add it with my videography.
I would say with what I've seen, you do photography now. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know that you can even say I don't really do it, because your headshots are good.
Oh, yeah,
I've
thank
been
you.
really impressed with them.
Yes.
When I need another set of headshots, I know who I'll be calling.
That's
for
right.
sure.
I got you.
So let's do one differentiator, because most people listening won't know this. I do know this, but you have kind of your standard day job, and then you also have your own production company, Chase Me If You Can Productions.
Yes.
And so can you tell us about those two worlds? Obviously, they're very similar,
Yes.
but in a lot of ways also very different.
So my jobs, they are similar a lot of ways. At my current job, I'm at Bethel College right now. I run their social media. That includes everything: LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, you name it.
All of them.
All of them. So I am also a content creator. So if they need a video created, they're going to ask me. If they need a photo shoot done, they're going to ask me. So that kind of helped me build my business as well, because I did my business on the side. I still do. And what I've learned from both is education is what I'm in at Bethel. Bethel is a college, a Mennonite college, so they want their videos a certain way. I had to learn, to differentiate. How is my videos going to, I don't want it to look like Bethel, but I want it to continue to look like Chase Me If You Can. So how do I keep that difference?
Right. Build the style, basically.
Build the style. And I think as Bethel has also helped me, I would say, for exposure, it's helped me get different people to see, oh, he does this. Oh, do you also do this on the side? So it really kind of helped balance out and help grow my business. It really comes down to, I want Chase Me If You Can to succeed, but I also love my job at Bethel.
Right.
So, eventually, and everyone wants to work for themselves, right? You want to just start and do your own thing. So I think I'm getting to a point where Chase Me If You Can is becoming where I want it to, but also grow to make it into a team. Because as we all know, being a solopreneur is what I like to say, sometimes can be tough, but you figure out ways to continue to push yourself, market yourself, and get to that point. And just like the podcast Create Space, you've pushed yourself each episode, you're learning, and you're knowing, okay, this is what I need to ask, this is what I shouldn't ask. And it's interesting.
Yeah.
So I think it's the balance between it is good. There's some differences. I have more freedom with Chase Me If You Can.
Of course.
Compared to Bethel.
Yeah. It's interesting hearing you talk about that, because I have a very similar starting story in that one of my very first jobs out of college was at K-State.
Yes.
And I was a videographer there. So I was 22 at the time and was a videographer for their College of Education. And I was surrounded by people I wasn't actually surrounded by other videographers, but I was surrounded by other creatives and also just other people who were very willing to support and mentor a 22-year-old and help me find the resources that I needed to grow. And while I was there, I also started kind of doing my own freelance type of stuff as well.
Yes.
And through the job at K-State, I got not my first wedding client, but a couple of my newer wedding clients. I shot some weddings one of which was the daughter of someone that I worked with.
Yes.
And then she told like somebody else that worked at the college, and I, worked with them. And then I also remember there was a professor for the design college, like the fashion design, or I can't remember what that major is called, but something like that. Anyways, they had me go and shoot a fashion show at a local bar, and it was amazing. And it was like so nothing I'd ever done, and so different than the types of videos I'd been making. But I think it was cool. I think I'm going to make a sweeping generalization here, but I'm going to make it. I think it's fair. When you work at an educational institution, I think you tend to find bosses and colleagues that are so supportive of not just you doing what you're supposed to be doing to get your paycheck, but also saying, what else do you want for the rest of your life?
There it
and
is.
Helping you get there. Because I saw that at K-State. I absolutely saw that when I was in admissions here, and 1,000% see that here at the Elliott School. They're always, Dr. Jarman's always asking me what I want. And so I feel like that's what, like, I'm seeing me a little more than 10 years ago with Bethel being able to support you and say you're doing an amazing job, but what else do you want? How can we support you, and chase me if you can? And I think you seem to have hit a really nice balance right now of being able to do both and learn from both and grow from both.
Yes. And I just love, and like you said, that is perfect, because when you do put yourselves in these situations, like you were doing videography for K-State, somebody's going to see you.
Right.
I mean, you may feel like it's a waste of time, or you may feel like, this is taking too long, but somebody will see your work. I guarantee, but you have to keep making it.
Yeah.
Or else no one will see it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have to make stuff that, I will admit, I'm not super proud of everything I made at the beginning. Like, you got to make bad stuff, for lack of a better way of describing it.
That's 100%. But you learn, and you didn't quit. And that's why you are in the position you're in. So, keep going.
And I hope, the term bad stuff, right, is all perspective, because in reality, if I go back and listen to these podcast episodes in, say, 5-10 years, I hope that I think that they're somewhat, quote unquote, bad, because if I think that they're amazing in 10 years, that means I haven't grown in 10 years, right?
That's true.
I think there's still some value to them, of course, but I think anytime you look back at what you have done, if you've grown, you're going to say, oh, well, look how much different I am now. Look how much better,
Yes.
or whatever. Maybe that's a bigger conversation, and we need to stop attaching, a better, a worse, and just say, this is the beginning, this is the middle, this is the next step.
There it is.
Maybe that's where we need to go.
I think so. That's a good roadmap.
I think so. It probably is.
It makes you feel more comfortable, like, okay, it's not a dead end. Like,
right.
There's always more room to improve or do something.
Yeah.
And with that, it comes your passion, and then you start loving something, and it doesn't become a job, it becomes a hobby.
Yeah, a hobby that you can hopefully get some money for and
there
support
it is.
yourself with. And so let's go back to, you said, that you never say no.
Yes.
And as the instructor who has seen a lot of students fall into sometimes a trap of saying yes to things they shouldn't,
Yes.
I would only amend that by saying never say no out of fear.
There it is.
I think sometimes you can say no if someone's not recognizing your value, if someone's not, whatever. But I totally get where you were headed with that. So and I've seen that with you, is that you have taken on opportunities where I go, wow, what in the world? How did he even hear about that? How did he even learn how to do that? So tell me about some of your, let's say, one or two of your most interesting things that you've fallen into, where you thought to yourself, there's no way I can do this. I don't know that I should say yes to this. And then you did.
Yes.
Tell me about those.
So it is a company here in Wichita, actually. It's ChinMed. It's the Dedicated Senior Center. It's on 13th and Grove.
Oh, okay. I've never even heard of that one.
And I didn't know about them. I'm actually in this business group. It's called WIBA, Wichita Independent Business Association. Small businesses basically network with each other to build their to build their clientele. And that's what it is. And it's a great program, I think, if anyone's interested in joining. It's $250 a year, and you get to meet so many different entrepreneurs.
That's not bad at all.
I think it's great. And like they say, you have to network. Network is better. That's your net worth. Your network is your net worth. So you have to learn that. I found ChinMed through WIBA. So they're like, hey, we needed this shoot done. Basically, it's a whole day shoot. You're going to be shooting for about 5 hours, editing on site, and we'll have to get it all done before the end of the day. And I'm a one-man army.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? And there's times I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. But I also said, you know what? Why not? You know, I have everything, all the knowledge up until now. This is just going to build my clientele. It's also going to build my skills and my confidence. And like you said, fear, it holds us back. Oh, my goodness.
100%.
100%. I've had it. Everyone has fear in something. Doesn't matter what it is. But taking that step past that fear, I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and try it. Let me give it a shot. I get in there. I do the job. You know, it was grueling, you know, shooting for 5 hours, editing and all that stuff. But I got it done. And they actually loved the ending results.
That's great.
Yes. And it was, I'm not sure where they're playing the commercial yet, but I know they said they're going to put it on major networks. I'm not sure when.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
So hopefully we see it out there, dedicated senior center and Chin Med. We'll see those commercials. But that really gave me confidence. When you do those jobs and it's like, you have to make sure you do it the way they want it. This is a medical center. You have to be careful of HIPAA and all this other stuff. So just filming that and learning the process and actually working with somebody from the company of how they want this shot, how they want this edited. So it was big experience, but it is well worth it. Once you're past that fear, you're like, what's next? What, like you said, what is next?
Yeah.
So
what in that experience, you know, because every shoot you go into is different. Every client is different. So this sounds like it was a relatively organized shoot. Tell me about, in terms of creative freedom, did you have much of it? Were you following basically a director? Were you planning your own shots? Was there a script? Like, tell me about the details of that.
Yeah, so they come basically with a script, how they want the whole day filmed.
Okay.
So it was actually their ribbon cutting, Chin Meds, that day. So it was going to be a huge event. The mayor's going to be there, the chief of the police. I mean, a lot of people that you would know. Brandon Johnson. I mean, it's a whole bunch of people there that are watching and wanting to see this happen. And my job is to capture everything. So they have this list of what they want, where they want me to shoot and film. I did have some I had some creativity, freedom, I should say, because they did let me get my own B-roll, which was good. He did say they wanted some type of B-roll here and there, but most of the time it was me going out and just finding those shots of people smiling, you know, talking, and, you know, just making sure to get the whole center and how special this whole day is, because it was. And then, just setting up everything, getting good audio, and once again, if you haven't taken a class like in audio, visual, I really suggest you do, because I learned a lot from my teacher, Jessica. And that's when those instances come up. You're like, oh my goodness, I can go back to when I learned this.
Right.
And then put it to this and learn to advance this to a point where you know what, I got this.
Yeah.
I can do this. And I think it's just, it just comes to, you know, stay out there, listen to people, you know, you'll make mistakes, but make sure that you give it your all. You have to, because they'll see that, and when they give you that freedom for whatever it is, use it, but also create something so that they can come back to you and be like, hey, what'd you do here? Or, you know, how'd you do that?
Right.
So, yeah, it was very organized, but also very fun at the same time.
But I bet it was, tiring, but just a great experience.
Oh, yes. Long days.
And you said they wanted you had to edit that same day?
Same day. And we all know how long footage is.
Oh,
because
yeah.
they had to get it out to their program by a certain time. So I'm like, okay, let me sit down, and he's, you know, right by me watching me edit. So he's like, can we do this? Can we do that?
That's so intimidating.
It is, and that's why I'm like, you know what? You got to go through those things in order to, you know, show your true potential.
Good for you.
And I did it, and I was like, you know what? Don't shy away.
Yeah.
Don't shy away, because you might regret it.
Oh, absolutely.
Later down the road, so do it.
And, you know, I mean, let's say that you tried it and it was a terrible experience and it went downhill. Then what have you lost? One day of your time, right? Mm-hmm. And maybe it was a really bad day, and what have you learned? Well, I'm never doing that again. Okay, that's fine.
Yep.
You know, but if you didn't do it, then what have you lost? This huge potential opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. That's an amazing story. What else you got for me? What other weird or interesting or intimidating situations have you put yourself in?
Yeah, so I let's see here. I actually did. It was my first. Well, not first. So this kid, he's at Bethel actually. So they're like, "Hey, do you do video?" I'm like, "I do video. You know, we can do this." He's graduating. I'm like, "Cool, that's good." He's like, I want you to create this video. So he shows me this video of what he wants. And I'm like, I've never seen this before. So it's like he's going around campus, showing everything that he's done throughout his 4 years. He's an athlete. He does this, his scholars, his work, everything. And he's like, okay, Chase, how are you going to shoot this? And we need this done. It's like the timelines for me. People want things done quick.
No one knows how long this stuff takes. No one knows except those of us who do it.
That's right. So you're just, reliving the moment and basically sitting at your computer.
Yeah.
But I had to basically come up with something within a day about what I wanted to shoot. We did locations on Bethel. I did to 4 different songs, basically. It's basically showing how happy he is, different places he hung out at campus with this music playing underneath. And, it took a little bit. We fumbled a little, made some mistakes. But the ending result was he was happy.
That's awesome.
He loved the video. He said, Chase, I can't believe you did this or came up with this. I had no idea where it was going. And I'm said, people, and you can probably relate to this, Jessica, people are going to come to you with ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to want you to have an idea, regardless of what it is. I deal with it with photo shoots. I deal with it with everything. But it also helps you think.
Yeah.
Stay on your feet. Like, what can I do now to create or to make their vision? And that's my whole theme of Chase Me If You Can, bringing your vision to life. So what does that look for you?
Right.
What does that look like? And I want the best for you. So I'm like, I'm going to give you 100% customer service because at the end of the day, it's still a business. You have to treat people, with respect and to let them know you are invested in their project as much as they are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting talking about inspiration, things that people bring to you as inspiration or ideas that they bring to you.
Yes.
And this is something that I talk about in some of my classes is that what clients will bring to you will almost always be high budget commercials, movies, trailers,
Yep.
because why? Because it's things they find on the internet and that's what's on the internet. Now, they know that they don't have a budget of $100,000. They know that. They know that you're not the person that can make something that's $100,000. So I think sometimes what catches people is they say, oh, well, if that's your inspiration, I can't make that. But I think what happens or what's important the conversation that's important to have, and it sounds like this is the conversation you had with him as a client,
Yes.
is what do you like about this inspiration piece? It's not the fact that they used a giant, jib arm and a Hollywood set. You like the emotion that it evokes, or you like the stylistic components that they put in there. So it sounds like you were able to take that inspo piece and listen to him and say, this is what I want to feel when I watch my final video,
Yes.
and create something that did that for him. And honestly, I'm really glad you brought up that example because I just watched that, because this is one you just finished, right, recently?
Yes.
Okay, I saw it posted on your social media and I watched it, and I was like, what a cool concept, because essentially, for decades, we've been taking graduation photos, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Senior photos, graduation photos, all of those types of things. You don't see graduation highlight reels, you might see some, graduation Instagram reels or TikToks or whatever from someone's phone, but this was a polished, multiple locations setup, professional video, and it reminded me of kind of what we do with like a wedding highlight reel,
Yep.
but for another life event.
There it is.
And I found myself thinking like, ooh, Chase, this is cool. Like, use that and show that to other graduates. And I can think of like 10 people in the Elliott School who would say, I would love to have something like that.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, by taking on this one, this one student's vision, you might have another niche area for yourself that nobody's done before.
Yes.
Because I've really never seen anyone do anything like that.
And that's what we were aiming for. I'm like, I've only seen the video he showed me, but don't box yourself in.
Right.
I'm telling you, you got to get out there and you will land in the things you never thought. And it might be the best thing you ever made.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you.
I was really impressed with that video.
Yes.
And
thank
what
you.
a cool keepsake for him to have. And the fact that he was able to watch it and say, yes, this is what I wanted.
Yes.
Like, that's amazing to me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. So let's move on a little bit. So First of all, let's get into something fun, which is I have to ask about your personal life because I know
Yes.
you are a brand new husband.
I am.
You just got married a couple of months ago.
I did.
Tell me about that. Tell me about married life.
Married life is great. Planning a wedding, stressful.
Yes.
I'm not going to lie to you, but it is worth it. I've known my wife. Wow. We've known each other since we were like 8 years old. We went to the same church. Yes.
That's incredible.
And I wouldn't say, recently, about 4 years ago, came back to each other, started dating, and, decided to get married because we loved each other, and that's why people get married, right?
That's typically the reason, yeah.
And, we've been having a really good time. We've been married for 2 months now. The journey was crazy to get there. She's helped me get through life, encouraging me with my business, giving me hints, giving me her insight, which has really helped me. And I think it's just that teamwork that you build together throughout the years and as you continue to grow. And I know we're fresh, we're newlywed, but I feel like we're really going to have a good future together, wherever it takes us.
I love that.
Yes. And she is a lawyer, so.
Yeah, let's talk about that because I don't know that I've ever, I know lawyers, but the lawyers that I know have married other lawyers.
Yeah.
So what is it like having a creative and a lawyer? I mean, that's got to be different.
Yes. So I'm more of like, I want to do this. I want to do this. I'm creative here. She's like, well, what can you do? What's the bottom line?
She grounds you a little bit.
Oh, she grounds me. She tells me, this is a good idea. Maybe we should do something else. It really is a good balance because I'm more bubbly, exciting. I'm not saying she's not exciting, but, she gets down to business. She likes to have fun, but she also knows, we want to do this eventually in our life. So we have to continue to grow now and work on these things, whatever it is in our relationship or in our business, our lives, anything like that.
Build the foundation.
So,
Absolutely.
yes. And oh my goodness, the wedding was amazing.
The pictures were beautiful. You guys look amazing. I mean, she's gorgeous.
Thank
you. You look so good. You guys, I've never had the privilege of meeting her, but it seems like the teamwork and just the partnership that you two have, it seems amazing. And obviously, you shouldn't judge on social media, but it's cool watching. You can tell she's in your corner, and you can tell that you are the same for her.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And we put the work in every day. We did things before marriage to get to the point we're at, premarital counseling, all this stuff.
Yeah.
But we really, and it depends on if whoever you love or like, depends on you, do you want to commit to this person?
Yeah.
And I decided I'm going to commit, I'm in a good spot. So
good for you. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love seeing, people who were my students and then growing up and getting married. You remember Connor?
Yes.
Friend, I got to take pictures of his proposal.
Oh, wow.
Which he's married now, too. That's been a while ago. But
yes.
But it's just fun getting to be a part of you guys growing up into your lives, into adulthood and all of that. It's amazing.
Yes.
Well, congratulations on that. That's so cool. And
Thank
I've been
you.
excited to actually get to tell you congratulations in person.
Yes. No, thank you.
And who did do your guys' wedding photography? Because it is awesome.
Oh, yeah. So it was someone that her brother knew.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she specializes in family and wedding photography.
Okay.
So it was she was on point. She did everything right, getting the shots here and there. And, I've done some weddings, so I'm like, okay, let me make sure she's doing it. But no, she was on it. So I think it's called AIMG Photo.
Oh, okay.
AIMG, AIMG, and then period, PHOTO.
Okay. Well, I'll find a link for that and stick it in the show notes in case anybody else is looking.
Oh, yeah.
So did you also have a videographer at your wedding, or did you just
I did.
do photos? Yeah?
Yes. And he showed us the video, and oh, my goodness, it was amazing.
Yeah?
Yep. The highlight, as you said, the highlight video. Wow.
Is it? Or I think I might have missed that. Is it on
Nope.
social media? Or no?
I'm still trying to figure out how to download it so I can share it because I have not had time to share it. But once I get all that stuff, then I'll share it out there so people can see.
You got a whole lifetime, right?
You're
share
right.
All that stuff.
Yes. But it was, he did good and, got our personal testimonies and all that stuff and just the ambiance of everything.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
I know that it's interesting bringing someone else into such an intimate moment, an intimate day to do something that you normally do, right? But because I remember having this conversation before my own wedding, which was like, okay, I can't videotape my own wedding.
Exactly.
I guess I could put a GoPro on my head, but then none of the pictures would be of me, and you can't do that. And what I remember what I had ended up doing was my boss and colleague from my first internship in college. I hadn't been in contact with them for a couple of years, but I called them back up and asked if they could videotape. And they did, and they just gave me all the raw footage and let me edit everything the way I wanted to.
Oh, yes.
Which I will say was an amazing experience that I loved, but also like so funny because I was so darn emotional trying to edit it.
Yes.
So I'm sitting there just like bawling my eyes out trying to edit my own wedding video. And I said you had all the time in the world. And I'm remembering back to, I think it was at least 8 or 10 months before I finally edited our wedding video.
Yep.
Because it took so much out of me. And I thought maybe I should have just paid someone to do this. I don't know. But it was kind of a mix of both worlds for me, of getting the creative freedom to do what I wanted with the footage, but also having a professional come in and capture the moments that obviously I just wanted to live.
Yes.
So I feel you on the thinking, okay, I almost wish I could just do this myself. But you gotta let it go and live your moment and let them capture it.
That's right. They'll do good. You gotta have faith.
Well, I can't wait to see it. As soon as it's up, I'm your biggest hype person when stuff comes out.
Thank you, and I appreciate the support. Yes.
So speaking of social media, because again, I've seen you 1 or 2 times since you graduated, but not that often. I mean, most of the way I keep up with you is via the stuff that you're putting on social media. Which I mentioned earlier, I think that you do such a great job of. And the thing that I'm very impressed by is your consistency of, I always know there's going to be something that's like, a good morning, go get them, have a good day, something like that, or a graphic or some photos that you've done. So tell me, do you just post organically when you feel like it? Do you have like a schedule? How does all that work?
So through all of my like jobs that I do, I'll always make sure to get something out there. Like if it's a photo, a video clip of the event I was at. And those I use for promotion. So if I did something maybe, let's say Friday, and I edited it by Saturday, I'll have that ready by Monday. And then let's say, this week wasn't as busy. I need to, get some traction going. I just come up with it in my head of what I want. I use a lot of, and there's different tools you can use. I'm getting more into TikTok and stuff. So I use, Canva has been really big. People use Canva. I use, I think it's Adobe Express.
Yeah. I haven't tried that, but I've heard a lot of people that use it.
Yes, and those help me kind of get my vision to where I want it. And one thing I've learned about posting on social media, people want to see like what you do. And when I say what you do, like, okay, I took a picture. They see the picture. But sometimes I'm like, and I just posted not too long ago, doing some headshots. I showed the light I set up. I showed the background.
Yeah.
I showed the flash on my camera. And eventually I'm getting more and more into this is what I do. People are more inclined to actually contact you when they see the process, because not a lot of people see what all you have to do. Like, you're just coming and you're just filming.
Yeah. Or
like my gimbal, for instance. If you show up with a gimbal and a camera, you're going to look way more professional.
100%.
I'm not lying.
Yeah.
And if someone's like, hey, well, is this going to, and I've gotten this before, is it going to be shaky? I'm like, no.
That's the point.
That's the point. Like, this is what it's used for. So finding out those things and using those things to your advantage and just trying to be confident with it and using it with whatever your photo shoot, whatever it is that you're doing. So it really helps.
That's a great point, honestly, that I don't know that I'd completely thought of. But, earlier we were joking about the fact that people not in the industry don't necessarily know what goes into creating and how much time it takes and how much effort and knowledge and all of that. But you have taken, instead of just me making a joke about it over here, you've said, you know what? Maybe I can fix that. Maybe I can show the behind the scenes. Maybe I can show the knowledge and the expertise and the time that I could invest in their project.
Yep.
And maybe that would help beyond seeing a pretty photo that you took and saying, okay, well, he probably just comes in with his iPhone and snaps that, right? Like, that's all that there is to that.
Yes, I'm telling you. And people will say that to you. So when you come prepared, they think different.
Yes.
And I hate to say that, but that's just what it is.
Yeah.
And I've showed up to video shoots and I'm like, and some people give me, this is my earlier days, like, hey, you might want to do this. You might want to, like, you're right. Come prepared so that you won't have to deal with that. But it's planning your social media. I plan posts, but sometimes I wake up that morning and I just do it that morning.
Just depends.
Just depends on how I'm feeling or what I'm trying to get across, what message it is, and trending with what's going on in the world. And, people use, templates for like, I don't know if you've heard of CapCut, but people use that for like TikTok and stuff. And they're like, oh, let me use this template, because it's trending, and put my work into that and show them what I'm doing. So it's just, going with whatever's happening. And like we know, social media is unpredictable. But if you continue to follow it and you post and you're intentional about your post, people will see that. And if they don't, that's okay. You could have any of your posts be seen. Just create content that's interesting.
And valuable.
And to you. And doesn't matter what others think, just make sure it is to you. And once you figure that out and you fall and you're like, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'll do this,
Right.
Figuring out those little steps to get you where you want and to get the recognition.
Yeah.
And network with everybody. It doesn't matter who it is. It's just if they're needing this or if you're trying to get into this industry, talk to somebody. Join business groups. Join, maybe a group gets together every Wednesday and, eats together. Just do that stuff and it'll help you. And you could get other social media tips from other social media people that are in that group. Because, some people hire that out. And I get that. That's fine because that's not your strong suit. And I'm a firm believer of hire something out if you're not good at it.
Right. Or if you don't want to do it.
Or if you don't want to do
have
it.
time or whatever.
Yeah. So, but for the most part, give it a try first.
Yeah.
Before you go into that because you could be really good at it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, from a pragmatic standpoint, you may not have the money to hire everything out. So in the beginning, you may have to do everything for yourself.
Yep.
And then as you build, perhaps you could start to leverage other people, maybe a little bit more. That's really fascinating because, I would say, in your time in the Elliott School, I don't know that you necessarily learned how to run social media. I think you learned transferable skills that probably helped you build that, but we didn't have a class about TikTok, right? Because it wasn't here.
It wasn't.
It didn't exist. So
Yes.
you had to grow and learn yourself. Here's a question that you may or may not know the answer to. You were talking about kind of the trending templates and stuff on CapCut.
Yes.
So I have heard of CapCut. I even downloaded it. I haven't actually used it. But I know as far as like social media algorithms go and all of that, that using trending audio on TikTok can really help get things seen more.
Yes.
Is that the same for CapCut like templates? Like if you use a trending template, does that help increase views?
Yeah. So depending, and it always happens on my social media, they'll just pop up with something that's trending. So it could be just a photo turning into a newer photo or a raw photo compared to a edited photo. And they'll have these templates. They'll have like the music that's under there and how they'll show you like what's trending, what's not. Typically sounds do trend because people remember sounds more than anything.
Sure.
With videos or whatever it is. But it just depends on what kind of thing you're looking for, content. So you could be doing videography or you could be like, oh, I just want to show off pictures of my cars, or I want to just, I'm doing a podcast, but I'm cutting out certain points. I'm using auto captions. It's just small things that can help enhance your videos.
Yeah.
If you are a single, if you're a solopreneur or if you're doing things all on your own, it helps you build your business and kind of stay within the trends because I haven't kept up with everything, but I do check in every once in a while to make sure that I'm at least knowing what's out there and what to put out there to get traction.
It can be hard because they change quickly, but
yes, they do.
Staying on top of it, at least somewhat, is important. And I'm loving this part of the conversation with you because, in all transparency, that is definitely not a strong suit of mine. Is like the distribution part, and I've kind of always been this way. As I love making the thing, right?
Oh,
and then once I've made the thing, then I'm like, okay, cool. Put it somewhere if you want. Distribute it, whatever. Maybe people will see it, maybe they won't. But the distribution part and the marketing part has I don't know if I'm not good at it, but I definitely don't enjoy the research and investing in that part.
Yep.
And I've seen that even with my podcast, and I have found myself thinking like, I need to start, chunking up more quotes from this and getting them out on social media. I need to start doing more reels like what you did for Kyle and things like that. And I'm also balancing that with this is a hobby. I'm trying not to stress myself out. I'm trying to do what's fun, and I guess I am hopeful that maybe as time goes on, I'll slowly start to build into that. But as I'm doing that, I'm looking to accounts like yours of seeing and going, okay, how is he managing this? Because I know you're busy. You have a full 8 to 5 job.
Yes.
So you're managing to do that. So I don't think time is my problem. I think it's more maybe organization or maybe just knowing the process. So I'm learning a lot from you, and I love watching the stuff that you put up because it is interesting how everyone has different strengths and different things. Was that hard for you actually to move into that marketing part?
It was because, I always posted my good mornings or whatever it was just to be, happy, make sure people had a good day and spread positivity.
Yeah, just be present.
Just be present.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have a business. How do I market myself? And it's like, okay, put out your videos you have. I don't know what that looks like, what wordage or, I don't know. I'm just going to do it. And I did it. And it's like, ooh, that wasn't very good. So I'm like, oh, well, what can I do better next time? It was all trial and error. A lot of error, posting and trying new things. Like, Instagram, I'm post here. LinkedIn, I'm post here. Facebook here. And then you're like, oh, nothing's happening. So it was a learning process to be like, okay, what am I passionate about? And then what do I want people to see? And then I look at other people's posts, like what are they posting? Like how are they doing this?
Yeah.
And you see that and you're like, you don't completely want to do what they're doing. So you have to figure out a way that works for you within your schedule, within your lifestyle. And your post should also reflect your personality.
Right.
Of who you are. You just don't want to steal posts from people and do that. Even if you have a template from CapCut, edit that bad boy to make it like this is what I want.
Yeah.
This speaks volume. Like this shows who I am or my business, whatever I'm selling. I think that's just getting into it and learning and falling and getting to that point where you know what, I can make this happen. I can keep marketing. I can learn things on my own to enhance my vision on social media, or anywhere it is on social media.
Right. And that's a delicate balance, I think, and I'm glad that you mentioned it, is on the one hand, we're talking about learning and exploring and saying, okay, what's trending? What are people doing? What do people like to see? So on the one hand, yes, it's bringing in inspiration from what other people are doing. But on the other hand, the second that your social media is only what other people are doing and you're not in it anymore, people see that inauthenticity. I don't know if that's a word. Unauthentic?
Yeah.
Whatever. You know what the word is.
I know exactly.
Disingenuous? Let's go with that.
Yeah,
That's a real
that works.
word. I don't know if the other ones were real words. But I think what I love about your Chase Me If You Can posts is that I don't just see another production company. I see Chase's production company. And I see your personality and who you are come through. And that is something that no one else could do, right? They can all do it for them, but no one else can do that for Chase. And so in a way, you have made yourself completely irreplaceable because what are people looking for? Not just a videographer. They're looking for a videographer like Chase Dempsey, who can do only what you can do. And that's such a special thing to be able to harness and portray to other people in a way that they connect with.
Yes.
And again, I think it's something that we're all learning and grappling with because in a sense, it's not just how do I market myself, but it's also like the deep philosophical question, who am I, right?
Yes.
You have to do that internal work first.
Yes.
So I don't know. That's so interesting to me.
Yeah, it takes time, find yourself, find who you are and stick with it.
Yeah.
Because, you're going to go through life. You're going to have ups and downs. You might find something you like. You might want to change careers. You might want to do whatever, but stay you.
Yeah.
And I think you'll be fine. I'm all right now.
You're like, I'm doing good so far.
I'm doing good so far.
Yeah.
Praise God. But, just stay down and, don't give up because you are worth something. You got to find it, though.
Ooh, I like that.
You got to. That's the only way. And once you find it, no amount of fear or anything in the world can bring you down.
Oh, goosebumps. I love that. So let's talk about that for a minute because I mentioned earlier that one of the things that drew me to you is the fact that you tend to, I don't want to say always, but most of the time you seem positive, you seem kind, you seem loving, you seem compassionate, but I would be silly to think that you are always like that, right?
Yes.
So obviously you have hard emotions like everyone else does. So my question, I guess, would be, how do you handle when fear creeps in, when anger creeps in, when resentment creeps in, either about your company, your organization, or your work, or any of that? How do you handle that within yourself? And then how do you keep from letting that bleed into your work? Because it seems like it really doesn't. Like, I don't see it in your work. So how do you handle that?
Well, I always say, and anyone can do this, look at where you started. Look at, how you felt back when you first were getting started and everything was going, and what you already had to deal with, and you had nothing. Or you had, whatever you did.
Right.
And then wherever you are today, look at that. You have to be proud of yourself.
Yeah.
Because you made it out of something. And, everyone goes through different things. But maybe you were dealing with depression, anxiety. Something was weighing you down, and you didn't know what it was. We're always going to deal with things in life, As you get older, like me, I'm married now, so I have to make sure my wife is good. We got a house now, so I have to make sure the house is good.
Right.
It's just adding, and you're always going to add more things onto your plate. But just remember that, you got here for a reason. You worked hard to get here, and bad things will happen. But remember, positivity will beat any of that, because and people tell you this, wake up in the morning with a smile. Regardless if it's, the day, you be like, I have 20 meetings today. I don't feel well. Nothing's going to go well. Hey, you woke up. You won't be sick forever, will you?
Right.
It's rough patches.
Yeah.
It's like speed bumps in the road. Literally like, boom. Oh, my goodness, I was rolling. Now I'm not. Boom. But you have to continue to build that momentum. And it makes that impact of the speed bump not as bad, because you know how to get over it now.
Absolutely.
Or you know how to ride that, wherever. So and it's hard, but keep a positive attitude. Remember where you started and show yourself where you are now. Are you happy? If you're not, change something.
Yeah.
And get to that happiness. So
it sounds like gratitude really
yes.
is a big part. And we all know that, our general negativity bias, right, is a researched theory that all of us tend to remember negativity more than we remember positivity.
Yes.
And and I heard just recently, I can't remember who I was talking to. We were talking about why, maybe from a primitive instinct perspective, why humans are like that. And I don't know if this came just out of the person's brain or if it was actually researched, so don't take this for any fact. But they were saying maybe the reason our primitive brains are hardwired to remember negativity is because, if you're a caveman, let's say, and you're out foraging and you find 10 beautiful flowers, that's really cool. But then right next door to those flowers, a saber-toothed tiger chases you. What's more important to remember for your survival? That those flowers were pretty and that was a positive, happy moment for you, or that there's a freaking tiger that might eat you?
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
So perhaps, because sometimes I get mad at myself, why am I focused on the negative? But maybe if we can think about, okay, that served a purpose at one time.
Yes.
But then we can say to ourselves, okay, so does focusing on the negative right now, is that serving a purpose? Because maybe it is. And if it is, okay, like you said, change that. If you're focusing on it because it's affecting your well-being and your relationships and your life, then focus on it and change it. But if it's not helping you, then maybe we can say, thanks, primitive brain, but I'm all set now. I'm going to let that go. This isn't a tiger. This is a bad day.
There it is. It's a bad day.
Right. It's a speed bump. I love that you use that, because speed bumps, we all know you get over them. They make you go, oh, I forgot that was there. I went over that a little too fast. Whoops. And then you're over it, and it's fine. And maybe you go over the next one a little slower to avoid the repercussions of that.
Because you learned.
Right. I'm thinking of myself in the East YMCA parking lot right now, because I've done that very recently.
No. Those are tricky ones.
I know. Oh, I love that. I've wanted to ask you that, because I do think it's easy to look at someone who's happy all the time or positive all the time and say, man, things just must be easy for them, or whatever you might think. But I know that's not the case. So I was eager to talk to you about, how do you get through the hard days? Because we all know you have them.
Oh, yeah. Just stay consistent.
I love that.
Yeah.
So I've talked to you for a long time. I won't keep you too much longer, I promise. But I was just thinking back to, so let's see, you said you graduated in 2021, right? From the grad program here. So it was 2019 to 21? Is that right? Okay. So as some background, I'm going to have you talk about this in a second. Your professional grad project that you did
Yes.
was a documentary
Yes.
about Black men in leadership positions in the Wichita area.
That's right.
Right? And I remember us talking about the topic that you wanted to do. And for the listeners, for these professional projects, students get to pick any topic that they want. So you came to me and said, I think I would like to do something that talks about the path or the journey of the African-American male specifically in terms of pushing themselves into spaces where historically you haven't seen too many, right? So what I would love to talk about is, one, tell us a little bit about that experience of making that documentary. And two, I would argue that now, a few years after you've made that project, you are becoming one of those men. If somebody else made a documentary now about the same topic, they could interview you, right?
Yes.
So how does that feel? And have you learned anything about being an African-American man and moving in this space that you would offer to other young men trying to do the same thing you're doing?
Yes, definitely. I learned a lot from it. The documentary, it taught me, once again, to network with people that are close to you. I mean, that's first thing. What kind of connections do they have? How can they help me? And what can we do together? So interviewing each of these people, and Kyle was actually one of them.
Right.
Yes, and it's crazy to see, and I've done some work for Kyle. And it's, he's shown me, just going off of him, he's shown me how to give back. So he asked me to do some of his videos. And I was like, you know what, I can do it. And I'm like, wow, I interviewed this guy and he trusts my video work and able to show his brand or whatever he's trying to show. And that really made me feel good. And it made me think, I want to also be that for somebody, whoever it is, because I was scared doing videography. I didn't know what to do.
Yep.
Even when I was doing the documentary, I was like, I don't even know how I'm going to put this together. But, and you taught us this, Jessica, it was in interviews, when you are interviewing someone or if you're doing that type of style, listen to them, try to pull out the parts that are emotional that people can relate to.
Yeah.
And also like nuggets, because, people's attention spans aren't very long. So pull out things that, that would benefit them, that would benefit you. And during this process, I learned and I listened to these men. And I asked them, how did you get here? What steps did you take? And a lot of them have to go through, whatever it is, it could be financial, it could be kids, it could be anything. But just extending yourself out there, being vulnerable with your business as well, and doing a good job at what you do, letting people know that it doesn't end here. You can get into these areas. You just have to just network yourself. And that's scary sometimes.
Believe in yourself that you belong in that space.
That you belong. And, it'll help open up those doors for you, because I never thought I'd be doing medical videos.
Right.
I mean, it's just, all type of videos that I've done. I'm like, this has been amazing. I thank God, because I never thought I'd be here, but it was just learning from that, building that documentary helped me build kind of my business and like who I am today.
Yeah.
It was just another step. Like you said, look, this is where you started. Now look where you're at. And now I'm like, I'll go talk to whoever, because I feel like I can give you good insight on whatever it is, if it's business, life, just certain things, because, I'm going through it now. You continue to go through it. But as they say, life is what you make it, and it's not over till it's over.
Yeah. So I'm trying to remember, like you said, Kyle was one of your interviewees for that documentary.
Yes.
Was that the first time that you had met him, or did you know him prior to that project? I can't quite recall.
I knew him a little bit. We had a
Gotcha.
class together. I remember that.
Oh, right, because he was in the program.
He was in the program.
Yes,
and
I forgot that.
We talked, and he said, I see you do video, so can you help me out? And I was like, yeah. And the other guys I talked to, like Bryce Graham, he does something for like kids. It's Launchpad. He's over there on 13th. It's between Hillside and Oliver, but he does the Shock Shop Barbershop. So he does barbershop, and I interviewed him.
I've seen that. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, man, I'll be like, I wanted to get different aspects of these guys and where they work in. So he worked with kids, and I'm like, that's not easy. But he's like, it's the work that you put into it, and, marketing yourself out there and not being afraid, taking opportunities, going to meetings you wouldn't usually go to, gatherings, like getting into that space.
Yeah.
And then luckily I also talked to Brandon Johnson. So what's the political side look like? Like how do you do your job, and how do you shape things? How do you manage your day, organize? It just, all of them gave me great insight on who I can become.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't that person yet, because I was learning. And I feel like I'm still becoming that person, but it's becoming easier because I kind of know where I'm going.
Absolutely.
If that makes, yeah.
I love that you used that project as an opportunity to grow from a technical production editing standpoint, but also that you chose a topic that allowed you to grow in the sense of, where am I going? What fears are holding me back?
Yes.
How can I learn from people who have tread this path before me? Those are my favorite. When someone picks a topic that you can tell really means something to them and is something that's going to push them intellectually as well as the production and skill perspective, I think that creates the most fantastic projects. And I would argue that your spirit and your engagement with the topic was very much shown through in the final project.
Yes.
And if you'd chosen something that you didn't care about as much, that was maybe easier or safer or whatever, I think we would have seen that. You know, it wouldn't have been the same.
Yes.
And it is very cool. You talk about gratitude. It is very cool to see where you are now and literally think to yourself, if a 19, 20, 21-year-old, well, you're not much older than that, but okay, I'll stop at, let's say 19. If they wanted to do something like what you did, you would be on their short list to call. That's crazy.
Yes.
It's so crazy.
And that's what I'm hoping, I love talking to people and giving advice.
Yep.
I'm like, you got to give it back somehow.
Yes.
You can't do everything yourself. You can't keep everything tied in. Help somebody.
Right.
And then eventually they'll come back and help you.
If all goes well, yeah.
If all goes well, yeah. Karma, I tell you.
Yeah, and if they don't, karma and the universe, all that, it'll come back to you in some capacity.
In some capacity, yes. Just remember that. But yeah, stay true to you and just be ready.
Yeah.
You'll be blessed.
So what's been the hardest thing for you since graduating, working the full-time job, making your own company? What do you feel like has challenged you the most or been the hardest to push through?
I say the challenging thing was, so I've been at Bethel for 2 years now. So when I graduated, just with my bachelor's, I was lost, kind of didn't know what to do.
Sure.
And then I was asked to come back and get my master's. So I did that. I would say what really helped me and the challenges I had was, what job do I want?
Right.
I do this like videography, like that's the name, but who really needs videography? I don't know anyone. Is there any jobs out there? Because I didn't want to work just a cubicle job. I didn't want to just, go here, work at Coke, work somewhere like that. I wanted to do something that no one I really see is doing. And I was struggling with that. I was like, I really don't know what I want and what I can do with the skills I have. So coming back here to Wichita State helped because it showed me how to be more professional, how to actually get down to the problems of, okay, if this isn't working, then you can use this, or you have this avenue. You have these type of people you can talk to. Maybe they know about something about it. So going through the program and going through all that, dating at the time was my girlfriend, trying to maintain a balance at home, doing all that stuff, it really just helped me become the person I am, because every day I tried to learn something different.
Yeah.
As in, how do I adapt to the situation? And I always said to myself, this is not where I want to end. And even right now, I'm at Bethel now, but I am, as they say, don't always be satisfied.
Right.
Continue to want to grow. So Bethel has helped me get to my career where I'm at, because it's gotten me that professional background of going to do this, doing videos for the president of the college, doing like big time commercials for them and for ads for the Super Bowl, like all type of stuff. So the process, it was at first scary. I had no idea, but as I kept going, it became easier to see where I could be. And now to see where I'm at, I'm like, wow, this was a wake up call, but it also showed me the struggles you're going to go through. And I don't care who you are. I mean, you're going to struggle sometimes. And it's like, how do I get past this? I'm tired of struggling, but just hanging, and it's always just hanging there, show gratitude, empathy towards things people have, because everyone has something going on. But I guarantee you, if you show that to somebody, like I said, it's going to come back to you in some way. and you will learn from that experience. And then you'll just want to show people, be vulnerable enough to be like, hey, I can help. Reach out to me, talk to me, because these are the things that I had to go through.
Right.
And it's always passing that down to somebody, giving someone a chance.
Yeah.
And I think I got a chance, and I'm trying to use it to the best of my ability.
I would absolutely say that you are.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
I am fascinated by that, the way that you described that struggle, because it's a conversation that honestly, over the past month, I have had multiple times with multiple students because, as you know, we just passed graduation.
Yep.
So I've had a lot of fresh students graduated, ready to enter the workforce for the first time. And I don't know that it's unique to our industry, but I think it's more emphasized or enhanced in our industry is that uncertainty.
Yep.
Because it's not a very linear path. If you go to get your degree in nursing, you're going to become a nurse. That's a very direct A to B to C.
Yep.
With us, you can get a communication degree, and what do you see? The phrasing on most job descriptions say something to the effect of business, communications, marketing, or related degree, right? So it kind of comes down to, can you do it? Can you prove to us that you can do it? Can you prove to yourself that you can do it? If the answer to all of that is yes, dude, we'll take you. Like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Which is amazing and is a strong suit of our industry. However, it also creates this uncertainty in people. And I have seen it exactly what you just described. You graduate, you go, okay, I have the paper, I'm ready to do the thing, but I'm still not quite sure what the thing is. And that's okay. And that's been a conversation that I had with myself at 22. Older people that mentored me had with me, not like I just figured it out at 22. But you know what I mean? A conversation that I had to reckon with at 22. And it's a conversation that I am now having with other new graduates of uncertainty is okay. It is completely okay to live in that. And in a certain sense, even in your periods of knowing what's going on, you're still going to have a little bit of uncertainty and you may fall back into it. So I was just emailing with a student the other day who was kind of stressing out and saying, like, emotionally, I don't feel ready for this next step. Like, I am not, I don't know what this means for me. I'm going to move. I don't have connections. I don't have, all these things. And I was telling this person, one, I had been there before. The first job out of college that I had, I really did not like. I only stayed there for 6 months. It was kind of tragic. It was horrible, which is okay. It was a learning experience from which I grew, because I'll be the first to tell you I wasn't the best employee there either, because I didn't like it. And so I was showing that, right? Yep. So I learned that I need to navigate hard spaces in a healthier way. And I also learned I can try to avoid those hard spaces if that's not where I want to be.
Exactly.
So that was the first period of uncertainty. But then a couple years after, I'd worked at K-State. It was like my dream job. I was so happy. And my husband's job brought us back here. And all of a sudden, I was in that same boat of saying, well, I got where I wanted to be. I did what I wanted to do. So now everything should be smooth sailing. I got through the hard patch. I got the job. Now I should be getting another job that is equal or better in terms of both value and pay, and I could find neither of those things. And I went through a year of working a clerical job, which was fine, and I made the best of it, but it was an uncertain time, right? It was a time where I went, this isn't my final landing place, and I know that, and it's hard. And I'm trying to get out of it, and I'm trying to move on to the next step, but I don't know what that next step is yet. And I thought I was already a professional. I thought I had passed that time of uncertainty, but I didn't. So I guess I say all of that to say, when I have someone on the podcast, like, you're in a place right now that feels good. You're in a period of certainty for the most part. But that doesn't mean that you're not going to fall back into something later. And like you said, you can do it because you've done it before. So living and appreciating, and maybe not appreciating, accepting at least the uncertainty, I think is a really big skill. And it's hard. And I still don't. I mean, I think, I don't know. I don't know where I'm headed with all that, but I think you see what I'm getting at.
Yeah, because with uncertainty, you're like, okay, this is going to be weird to say, but be thankful that you're uncertain. Because if you weren't, you just know everything. You would think you do.
Good point. Yeah.
So who can give you that feedback? Like, hey, no, maybe you're not going to listen to anybody.
Right, because you're set on your ways.
You're set. So keep an open mind. Like, you felt that uncertainty. You know how it feels. Now move on.
What a great way to frame that in terms of gratitude. I have never phrased it exactly that way, but yeah, be thankful that you are open enough to feel uncertainty.
That's right.
Oh, I like that. Gosh, you're good.
I think it helps.
Man. All right. So as we close up today, Chase, is there anything, I've talked to you about a lot of the things that I've just wondered about and wanted to ask you about. Is there anything else that you would like to share about your world or your journey or advice or anything else you just think, I can't leave this podcast without saying blank?
Yes. Well, I would say just a tip for everybody, whoever you are, if you're listening to this, just know that you are enough. You can do whatever you put your mind to. I know it sounds cliche, but you'll understand that more as you live through each day and whatever your passion is. Don't give up, because once you give up, then there's nothing else for you.
Right.
And if you don't like something, just shift your focus to something else. Continue to build on whatever it is, because you can have the best whatever it is that you're doing. It could be hair, it could be a bakery, it could be nails, it could be anything. Just continue to do that and you will be blessed. But remember, show gratitude and be kind to people, because this world sometimes can be crazy, cruel, but if you have other people that you show that to, then you can spread that positivity. I think that'll help you.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yes.
I love that. Thank you so much. It's been an honor to have you here today.
Thank you.
And more than that, it's been an honor to be able to witness your journey and get to watch you and just be a tiny part of it.
Yes.
So I appreciate your time so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I can't wait to hear this one and the other episode you have coming up.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
Thanks, Chase.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you all so much for taking the time to listen to today's episode. It's such a privilege and an honor for me to get to record and share stories like Chase's, and I'm just happy that you're all here with me. So keep in mind, if you are in the market for a videographer, a photographer, or content creator, please, please, please do yourself a favor and get a hold of Chase Dempsey. All of his information is going to be in the show notes page for this episode. As always, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next week on Create Space.